Thomas Swingler was charged Thursday in federal court for hacking cable modems. And this arrest may actually set a precedent that could change the way we all get our internet. The Loop investigates. Joining me from New York to help us make sense of it all, senior editor for Silicon Alley Insider, Dan Fromer, joins us. How are you, Dan?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Not as well as, actually, I should say I'm doing a lot better than Thomas Swingler. We got the basics in the feed, but can you break down exactly what happened to Thomas last week?
Sure, yeah. Thomas was charged in New York in a federal court with trafficking in unlawful access devices, according to Wired.com.
Kinky.
Which sounds to me like he was selling cable modems that were hacked to be used illegally.
Yeah, and the only real, quote-unquote, illegal use for a hacked cable modem would be to what? To steal internet access?
Right, to get free internet access. You know, in the Wired.com story, there's some mention about how you could use this for fraud or something like that, which, you know, who knows, that's possible. But
True.
I think that the most common activity of someone using a device like this is to get free cable internet.
Right. Well, has he done anything wrong here, though? Because, I mean, simply selling the device, is that enough?
Right. So as Wired explains, you know, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know. But what it sounds to me like there's a gray area. Selling the hacked modems themselves does not seem to be illegal. That seems to be something that you can do for what's called educational purposes or whatever. But selling them with the intent to get people to steal internet access from a cable company or from a telco or whatever, that sounds illegal. So
Right.
I guess they're going to have to prove that in order to bust him, I think.
And that might be hard to do because, I mean, selling with intent, of course, that's wrong. But I thought the site gave some sort of warnings against using hacked modems or against pirating, you know, cable internet.
Exactly. You know, the site says, we're not responsible for what you do. Of course, that's like the fake ID company saying, we're not responsible if you get busted drinking with one of these things.
Right.
So, you know, obviously I don't know what his intent was, but of course if your intent is to deceive, you're going to put up some sort of disclaimer, aren't you?
Sure. Well, yeah, of course. And allegedly an informant got Swingler to admit to illegal uses for the modem in an online chat. Like he was having a casual chat, hey, I might be a customer, and he said, oh, yeah, you can use it for X, Y, and Z. I mean, that could be a big problem for him, right? Yeah,
something along the lines of it steals the internet. You know, of course, they'd have to verify that that was really him in the online chat.
And not somebody spoofing his MAC address using a hacked cable modem.
Exactly, right?
Now, is there going to be trouble for those who bought the modems in the past? Because I remember, like, back when my dad used to pirate cable, allegedly, you know, we were always worried, oh, man, if one of these, you know, Gerald Box companies, if they get busted, we're going to be on a list, and they're going to come kicking down the door. And, I mean, if someone out there is stealing internet or has stolen in the past, should they be concerned that now that a list might be compromised or that they could be found out?
Right, like those things that used to dub VHS tapes from one to the other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is one of those cases where it's a huge corporation against a small but probably profitable company. I think he had something like 4,000 clients. I don't think anyone who bought and used this is necessarily going to go to jail. If they got caught, their internet provider could terminate them and block them and never give them internet access again. And in this country where there are two companies to get internet from, you know, that could be a threat. But if someone did use this for fraud, which is a possibility, sure, they could be in trouble.
Right. Well, what's next, Dan? I mean, who else might they go after?
Well, I'm sure if this was a profitable enough business to keep this guy, you know, awake or whatever, there might be other people doing the same thing. I don't know. You know, you say it's the first case of its kind. But it's possible other people were doing the same thing. That's someone they could go after. Or if there was kind of a middleman advertising it, you know, they could go after them too, or power users.
They were in my Google ads. Damn.
Right, yeah.
Oh, well. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Sarah, and I hope you remain online for a long time to come, allegedly. Thanks for keeping us in the loop, Dan.